Hi everyone! This is like my third time trying to start this. I seem to be having some tech problems today, but I will overcome. So, welcome to the Facebook Live. My name is Wangari and I'm a brand alignment strategist. And what that means is that I help service based solopreneurs how to manage their personal brand online so that they can grow their influence, impact, and income online. And this month I've been talking about how to create content that connects and collect. And over the past couple of weeks, I've talked about how to use social media to sell without selling, so how to do that indirectly and in a way that's more comfortable and palatable with most of our audiences. And today, what I'll be covering is just free tips and tools that you can use to start creating your content quickly and easily. I know most people struggle, especially when they're trying to build their personal brand, how to talk about things that are relevant to what they're about, or they ask, what should I post on my social media? What kind of content should I be creating? And that's what I'm going to cover today. So, what I have for you tonight is 2 easy tips on how to create content, as well as 2 free tools that you can use to get you started on your journey. So the first one is a very easy way to start sharing content if you're not sure what to talk about. So it's a very popular method called Teach to Learn. So for example, if you've been learning something, whether in your area of expertise, or you've paid for a course, or you're working with a coach, well, you're not supposed to give copy and paste of what you've learned, but just give it from your perspective. So for example, an easy way would be what I learned this week about creating content online. So a lot of the stuff I even share, it's stuff that I know, but as well as things I've learned from people I follow who I feel are experts in the industry that I'm learning from. So that's a good way to start. You just say what I learned this week, or what I'm learning from this path or journey that I'm taking to grow my personal brand. So you don't have to think about what to say. Just a new tip, a resource that you found. Talk about it from your perspective and maybe give an example of how it applies to you. Another way to create content very easily is to document your journey. So for those of you who are either entrepreneurs, or you're working on a project and you're just trying to build some interest and following, it's just good to talk about how you start, like basically say, oh, this week I was working on building my website. This is what I've done. What do you guys think? Next week you'll be talking about, my next project in terms of building my business is I have to go and network at these industry events, and maybe you'll share a picture, or this is me at this event. These are the people I met, and these are the kind of the connections I made that will help me grow my business. So documenting your journey is very easy because you already know what you're going to do. You're just taking note. And the good thing about that, it helps you to understand the process. And that is something that you can then teach other people, the process of building your business. And then going forward, the 2 tips that you can use to help you get ideas on what kind of content to share. The first is Google. A lot of people ask me about information. I always tell them Google is your friend. It's a very underused and underrated tool because people just use it to search for things quickly, but there's so many different things you can do with Google search that will help you find very specific information that you need that is useful and relevant. A good place to start, I would say, is just look for the term Google like a pro. It's a quick video that just shows you how to look for specific information. For me, as a postgrad, we even have a training at my university how to use Google to search for articles. So it's a very resourceful tool, and you can use that to start to understand what kind of content is out there related to your field of interest, and use that as a guide to see what kind of information people are searching for and are interested in. Another one that is very good for people who are creating content, like for me, when I'm working with clients and helping them maybe create content for their website or create blog posts, I use a site called buzzsumo.com. That's BUZZSUMO. And what BuzzSumo does, it ranks content in terms of its popularity, like how many likes it has, how it's been shared, and you'd search for terms essentially, like you would using key terms. So for me, as someone who works in terms of building your personal brand online, I'll go to BuzzSumo and I'll just write building your brand on building your personal brand on social media, and it'll just list for me which are the most popular articles. The reason why that's important, it'll help you understand first what kind of titles are very popular, so it will give you an idea on how to phrase your titles or your posts. Another thing is what kind of content are people who are interested in personal branding searching for, and it will help you at least have an understanding of what kind of direction you need to take when you're writing about certain content. So use that tool. There's a free version which allows you 5 search terms a day. So use them wisely. If you use them up, you have to wait the next day before you can use it again. Otherwise, if you can pay for it, because there's other benefits you can get from using a platform like that. So I hope that was helpful. Just as an extra bonus, something I would share in terms of creating content that I learned. So I'm using the example I showed you, teach what you learn. This week when I was preparing for this Facebook Live, I learned 2 very important things that I hadn't been using that I now want to implement and see how they'll help me. So a big one for me was how to repurpose your content. Also because I don't have a lot of time where I can work on creating content, I want to maximize the time I have and create as much output as possible. So from one of the people I follow online, I learned, for example, that you can create one huge blog post and you can repurpose it, for example, by turning it into a video or turning it into an audio, or even creating sections of it and using them as quotes or tips and tools, and then say, if you want to learn more, redirect them to the actual main article. So that for me is very useful because I want to use the little time I have and maximize the amount of value I'm able to share with my audiences. Another thing I learned when I was preparing for this Facebook Live is that a lot of bloggers, their focus is that they use 40% of their time to create content and 60% promoting. That is something I had overlooked. Whereas for me, I focus on creating the content. I didn't quite appreciate the value of promoting it. So promoting it doesn't necessarily mean paying for ads for people to see your content, but promoting it could be, for example, you take an important line from your content, turn it into a tweet, and have a link at the end for people to look at the article. So you can create several posts from one main post and use Twitter to get people interested in your content. Another thing I learned is that you can create captions, like a snippet of your content, and maybe create an imagery. Remember, like the idea I shared on Monday about how you use categories and themes as a conversation starter, and then just write a small snippet of your content, and you'll see, as with many bloggers, they'll say, full article, for the full article, click the link in my bio. So they're using their social media to promote the content that's on their website. So for me, that's homework to implement in terms of, as I create content, think about how I can leverage social media to promote the content. So I hope that was useful for you tonight. I think this is I only have one more FB Live on this topic of creating content that connects and collects, and just something to highlight in terms of, if you want to learn more, I have been running a Clean Your Feed social media challenge where I help people to just maximize their social media to build their personal brand, in terms of knowing which is the best platform, how to use the platforms, and how to just make sure you're getting a return on your investment in terms of the time and money you're spending on social media. In addition to that, I have a special bonus where I show people how to create a month's worth of content in just one day. Imagine the time and effort that will save you. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the comments and you can follow the instructions on how to participate in that challenge. All right, guys, I'll see you next week.